be, I think, a massive amount of new kind of applications. Everything from things that will emerge out of data analytics, because I think actually once you have all these piles of data, people will build products out of synthesis of data. So again, using LinkedIn as an example, we have company pages. We actually show like what are the common titles at a company, what universities the companies usually hire from. This all comes from analytics of multiple profiles, right? And that gives you a lens suddenly, a new understanding of a company that you didn't have before, that's useful for someone who is thinking about a job there, thinking about trying to sell into it, all these kinds of things in terms of interacting with companies. And so what I think is, as we kind of accelerate towards, future being sooner and stranger, I think that the Web 2.0 kind of platform of actual identities and relationships we're actually, really at the just beginning stages. We're not even at the mid game. I think that the notion of kind of always being connected and what kinds of apps come from it. So people are already familiar with being accessible by email, by BlackBerry, by cell phone. Obviously, people are speculating about automated personal assistants that route calls through and that sort of thing. But I actually think what will be interesting is what kinds of apps will be kind of functioning automatically on top of it, like kind of discovery. So like, are there events going on in my local area? Is a friend nearby? Are we traveling to the same area of the world together? Or happen to be in the airport at the same time? Suggested places to eat, people to communicate with, these sorts of things. I mean, those are kinds of things, and it's the apps and the interaction which changes in how the way the electronic space, the internet, interpenetrates with the physical space, and what kind of apps come off that is the thing I think will start changing how people look at this. There are many places that do good innovation. Silicon Valley is still the global capital, and part of that's because what you want to be able to do is have lots of ideas bubbling up and combining and recombining. You have to have a culture that enables, what is called failing fast, which is quickly trying something and then quickly restructuring and playing again and playing again. Having a kind of and actually this is part of, LinkedIn is designed to have this kind of open network by which people help each other professionally, not just only within the same company, but between like people you've known, former classmates. That's part of what makes Silicon Valley go, because the connections by which people go, okay, we're all constantly trading and learning ideas for how to build new technologies, take technologies that exist, watch cultural change, patterns of change, and develop something new that may take off like wildfire and then change the nature of the ecosystem. So that's what's critical for having all these sorts of things. If you think about what happens now that millions of people are publishers, think of how much content gets generated, right? The amount of noise or the amount of pure like digital bits explodes. As people, our ability to process information doesn't explode at the same informational rate. So the question that you have to make decisions about is, well, which recommendations do I trust? Which information do I see? So, for example, when I was thinking about this when I founded LinkedIn, it's like, okay, well, there are going to be thousands to millions of people claiming expertise in Web 2.0. How do I know which of them are actually, in fact, good experts? Well, my network is part of what helps me distinguish that, because if someone I trust says, oh yeah, that person really knows this Web 2.0 stuff really well, then that's the expert that I happen to trust and interact with and engage with and so forth. I have always thought about it as kind of the network as the platform, and part of the reason why I think about it is that I think a network has a little bit more of a generic set of containers. So for example, when we look at LinkedIn, not only is it people, groups and corporations are also entities, right? So the fact that there's company pages and people relate to companies, and companies might publish information, even though an individual is ultimately publishing that information, there is interaction on that level. And so one of the reasons why I tend to look at it as a network, as a platform, and a kind of a network of trust, which includes people and includes social. Also, social tends to indicate for some people things like which movies do you like and which food do you like, which is perfectly good, but also trust in information, right? So, like what happens when you make essentially Yahoo Finance social? Like, is that social or is that kind of more professional information? And so I tend to use the word network myself when I think about these things, but that may be kind of an insider quibble.